Any health-related information on the following show provides general information only. Content presented on any show by any host or guest should not be substituted for a doctor's advice. Always consult your physician before beginning any new diet, exercise, or treatment program.
For centuries, ancient cultures knew the secrets to longevity, vitality, and healing. Now, modern science is catching up. Ageless Blueprint is a podcast that will reveal the modern secrets of better health and a better life. Join Dr. Eldred Taylor here today and every Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time on W4HC Radio at W4HC.com. As together we discover the secrets to better health through science and spirituality. A better life with Ageless Blueprint starts now. Here's your host, Dr. Eldred Taylor.
Hello, good morning, everyone. This is Wednesday at 9 o'clock, so that's time for the Ageless Blueprint. I am Dr. Taylor. I am the hormone doctor, and I am the spiritual MD, but I am mostly the hormone doctor. And here's what I want to tell you guys. When I first started this Ageless Blueprint, I wanted to be this deep transformation type podcast where people would go deep and we talk about these deep subjects. And you know what I found out is that it's almost impossible to do that when your hormones are not performing like they should, or if your hormones are out of whack. And so I've had to kind of pivot and to say, this hormone confusion issue that I've been talking about and ending hormone confusion, it is the top priority because it is becoming dangerous, the confusion that is out there. Okay, it's becoming dangerous to people that doctors and patients are confused about hormones. So today, this is going to be kind of a two-part episode. The first episode is my experience, a patient case study that actually I had 2 days ago, had it on Monday, the last time I was in the office. And I talked about this case on TikTok, and it's already kind of started going viral. We got about 10,000 views and 40-something comments. It hasn't even been 24 hours. And it's talking about how these decisions that are made on bad information can be a real problem. So we're going to talk about that. Then I have a special guest that I'm going to introduce. So I want to talk about my experience and how this hormone confusion can be life-threatening. And then I want to talk about how hormone confusion can be career-threatening, because this is a doctor who has a career, but she got burnt out. And so she came to me, and actually she found me on TikTok. That's why I started doing TikTok, because people told me that's where the patients are. And she's actually my first hormone coach. So she is someone who is totally committed to this. She has experience that it has helped her career, and now she wants to help other people. So I want to introduce Dr. Bradley. She is an MSCD, and she'll tell you what that is. And she is she's interested in stress physiology. She helps people and understand the stress physiology and cortisol rhythm educator who specializes in teaching high-performing women why they feel depleted, disconnected, or flatlined over time. Her work centers on survival chemistry, explaining how prolonged stress impacts hormone communication, energy, and emotional steadiness. Through her NRB method, where she talks about nourishment, recalibrate, and balance, she guides women in reconnecting with their body's natural rhythm and capacity for restoration. Now, who does that sound like? Sounds a little bit like me, because I've been trying to replicate myself, and she's my best replication, because she's been following me for about three months now. So anyway, this is Dr. Bradley. Why don't we bring her up? And hello, Dr. Bradley. She's my number one coach. She's my clone. And I'm trying to teach her everything that I know, because, I was recruiting hormone coaches, and, some would kind of, but she came in 100%. So introduce yourself. Tell us about yourself. Then I'm going to talk about my experience, and we'll talk about yours.
Perfect. Mm-hmm. So I am Dr. Lovey B, MSc D, which is a metaphysical science. That's what I studied. I like to study things beyond the present. I'm on the spiritual plane, kind of hard to be grounded in the physical. However, I have amazing souls like Dr. Taylor to help me stay grounded. And like Dr. Taylor said, I help and serve women who are high performing individuals, who are always on the go, who are the nurturers in their families, who live high stress lives and do not know when to turn it off. And until the body says, we're going to turn you off, right? And that was the story of my life. And Dr. Taylor, I'd like to make one correction. It's been going on 6 months that we've been connected.
Okay. Okay. All right. Great.
I want to make sure that I honor you in that it's been 6 months, and it's been the blessing in my life that I've called for to have you save me from flatlining.
Okay. All right. Well, hey, I didn't bring you on to heap flowers on me.
I have to give you your flowers, indeed.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, great. So here's what I want to do. So we're going to start off with my experience. So let me tell you what prompted me. All right. So I want to show you this slide. Can you show this one slide for us, Rebel? Can you make it big? Let me see. Can you make it big? There you go. All right. So I want to show you this thing called a hemoglobin. That says how much blood that you have that can carry oxygen so you can stay alive. All right. So you look at that number, it's 5.3. And I want you to look where that green line is. It's all the way up at 12. So that means you're supposed to have 12 to 15 of these. And this woman only has 5.3. And usually you start to have symptoms at around 10. So she's half of the place where she is going to have symptoms. So anyway, she knows she's perimenopausal. She's 44. She goes into the ER because she's fatigued. She's craving ice. She can't hardly stand up. She looks depressed. You can see that she has no energy. So she goes into the ER. She's bleeding right now. She has heavy cycles. She knows that she has a hormone problem. She's 44. She knows she has a hormone problem. She goes into the ER. They draw her blood. They see that in her blood that the hormones are in the normal range. So they send her to a hematologist. You know why? Because they believe she doesn't have a hormone problem because they looked in her blood. And the blood does not show what is going on in the tissue. So that is the cost of hormone confusion. And what I'm trying to get across to you is that they said you don't have a hormone problem, so you must have a blood problem. So they sent her to a hematologist who's a blood specialist. And I'm trying to get across is that if she's having a cycle right in front of you, she doesn't have a blood problem. There's something wrong with her cycle. And so, but anyway, the blood is confusing doctors and blood confuses patients. And so that's why it's so important to understand this physiology so that we can stop. So I'm just telling you is that if this lady had waited 2 weeks to go see a hematologist, if she had had anything that caused her to bleed, a car accident or whatever, or just she was going to initially not have enough blood to stay alive, okay, if she had 1 or 2 more periods. That's how important this is, okay, is we have to end this hormone confusion. That's why I'm dealing with Lovey. That's why I'm on TikTok. That's why I do these podcasts, because this hormone confusion is life-threatening. I will tell you another way that hormone confusion can be life-threatening. When we don't understand that even though a person's not taking estrogen, if they're not making enough progesterone, they're still estrogen dominant. And it can cause things like endometriosis and even cancers, breast cancers, is that it's important to know how to do the right test. So at first, I would say that I just thought, this is not just about hot flashes. This is not just about poor sleep. This is an example of a life or death situation that was really exacerbated because a doctor, and it's not the doctor's fault, it's just how we've been taught. I'm not pointing out this doctor, is that the whole medical community is confused about hormones. There's a study that said only 9% of doctors understand how to handle menopause. And this is proof positive right here that he's part of that 91% that doesn't understand it. And again, I'm doing this podcast so that patients can understand is that if you have iron deficiency anemia, if you have a low ferritin or anything, and you're menstruating heavily, that is the cause. I tell people This is my motto. You only have two problems. I don't care if it's hot flashes, mood swings, heavy cycles, whatever. You've got two problems. You've been tested wrong and you've been looking at the wrong hormones. Is that everyone is familiar with estrogen. Everyone is talking about testosterone and women. Halle Berry's on TV talking about testosterone and all it does for women. It may do some things, but it doesn't do what progesterone does to balance out this situation here. Testosterone is not going to fix her. So anyway, she comes to me. I give her iron infusions because she had refused a blood transfusion. I give her iron infusions. And I did not wait for 2 weeks. I could have done a saliva test on her, but it would have been 2 weeks to get the results. I didn't wait. I prescribed progesterone. I know that is the problem. So I prescribed progesterone. She's coming back later to get another iron infusion because it's going to take more than one to get this up. And any bleeding, she has no reserve and she cannot overexert herself because she has no reserve. So anyway, this case is just intensified my passion that this information has to get out by any means necessary. Okay, I don't know if you know that phrase, but by any means necessary. Okay, so whatever podcast I have to do, whatever video I have to do, whatever I have to do, this has to end. We are on a movement to end hormone confusion. We've written songs about it. I do TikTok twice a week at night. I give up my time because this is what I've been trying to do for 25 or 30 years. And now I have the vehicles to do it with podcasts and all of these things. So, Lovey, I'm going to stop here and you can give your comments and I'll let you, talk about, but let me just say this. It's two things I want to get across, and I think you're going to exemplify it even more. The problem is people are tested wrong. And so I know you've sent people to get hormone testing because you thought they had hormone problems and they come back and said, the doctor said my hormones are normal. And you've even experienced that. Okay. So we've got to get over that you're being tested wrong. So I want people to stop spending money on blood testing. Okay. It doesn't work when we're talking about hormones. And the second thing I want to do is for you to be very comfortable with understanding what progesterone does and understanding what cortisol does. Because I'm going to tell you the root of all evil is stress. It's not cortisol. It's the dysregulation of cortisol caused by stress. And I think you would agree with that. So you don't have skin problems. You don't have anxiety and PCOS and perimenopause and menopause. You only have two problems. You're being tested wrong and you are not focusing on the correct hormones. And you need to know what all of these hormones do, how they interact with each other, and it's not as confusing as it is. Hormones are not confusing. The testing is what is confusing you guys. All right. So this little diatribe monologue. I had to get that out. I had to get it off my chest. And so anyway, so now we'll have a discussion. So Lovey, why don't you talk about your experience with hormone confusion and how you ended it?
Where do I start? Oh my goodness. So I started having hot flashes. Dysregulation in my blood pressure, dry eyes, blurry vision, mood swings, cravings, all the things. So I went to my doctor and I'm like, I think something's going on with me. However, because I was about 45 at the time-ish, I didn't think I was old enough to be going through menopause. Perimenopause, menopause, postmenopause, none of the pauses, right? All I knew about menopause was from family members. And those were the women in my family that were just like, you'll go through it. You'll just have to suffer through it. There's nothing that you can do. That was the response that I knew. So when I went to my doctor, I wasn't going to my doctor like, test me for XYZ. I did want him to test my blood sugar, my glucose levels, and I did want him to do like a chem panel on me to make sure that all my labs were good. So when my labs came back, he just messaged me in the portal and said, hey, Lovey, you're in menopause. Nothing we can do about it. Go on about your life. And I remember reading that portal like, this is it. So I can't wear my contacts. I wear glasses. So I'm like, I can't wear my contacts because I couldn't even
Mm,
keep the contacts in because my eyes were so dry and
mm,
irritable. I couldn't see signs when I was driving because my vision was so blurry. I went to eye doctor after eye doctor because I'm like, okay, maybe I need bifocals. I don't know. I went to
mhm.
an eye specialist, like, why are my eyes so dry? And they're like, oh, you'll have to live the rest of your life with drops, with
Yeah,
tears, drops carrying around.
yeah.
I'm not 70. I'm like, this cannot
Yeah,
be the story of my life. And I just
yeah,
recall like feeling like I know there's an answer because I know that the body is designed to heal itself.
yeah.
However, I don't know the answer, but I'm going to have to do the research to determine what the answer is. So from there, I
Mm.
went to naturopathic doctors. I did energy work. I went to Reiki. I did lymphatic
Wow,
massages. I did massages. I went to a
wow.
chemist and said, that was my experience with my first spit test to see
Okay,
what was going on in my body, my saliva test. I say spit test, but it is a saliva test.
right.
And I found out all of the symptoms that I was having. This person was on point with all of my symptoms. However, hormone conversation never came up. And one night, I'm not
Mm.
a social media person, but one night my spirit said, go on TikTok. And I opened TikTok and
Mm,
Dr. Taylor was doing a live and I was
mm.
captivated. And from there, I went researching. And while I was researching, I recall saying, please, spirit, let him be in Atlanta.
Wow, wow. I didn't know that.
Yes.
Ah,
And when I did my
ah,
research and found out you were in Atlanta, I said, I don't care what it costs,
wow,
what it
wow,
looks like. I am going and I am going to make it happen because I know this individual can help me. I
wow.
messaged Dr. Taylor. You messaged me right back. And I'm like, finally, I hadn't even had a conversation with you. I'm like,
Yeah,
finally, I know I have called forth the answers to save my life.
wow, wow. All right. Hey, I didn't know it was that. I believe in all of that. And you admit, and you said, let him be in Atlanta. Wow, that's crazy because when I contacted you, I was surprised that you were in Atlanta. I'm like, oh, you're right here. And so
Yes.
that led you to become a patient. So you can go ahead and finish the rest of the story. So this is great.
Oh, yes. And when I said by
Mhm.
any means necessary, Dr. Taylor, I meant
Yeah,
that. My
yeah,
chemist
I
that I went to
see.
see, he's located in Detroit. I flew to Detroit
Mm,
twice to have saliva
wow.
tests. So
Okay.
I meant that. I wanted you to be in Atlanta so I could come
Yeah.
frequently. However,
Right.
if you weren't in Atlanta, I was just going to make it happen. Because one thing I've realized is even having insurance, and this is my perspective, is
Right.
designed to keep us sick, not to help you get well. That's
Yeah.
my perspective.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of things for wellness require you to pay out of pocket. And
Yeah.
I was willing by any means necessary to get well,
Yeah.
whatever
Yeah.
that took. So the question you asked me, could you repeat it, Dr. Taylor? Because I kind of
Well,
lost.
here's what I would say. You can go about the experience you had with me, but that's what we're talking about, the cost of hormone confusion. How much money have you spent flying to Detroit, doing this, doing that? And this is what I'm telling you guys, these women are out here searching. You ought to look and see some of these Facebook groups that have thousands of members, and it's confused people talking to other confused people. And that's all I see on there. And just
Mhm.
like you're talking about, how did you learn about menopause from your mother and your grandmother? And back then, they didn't have this science available to them. They did just suffer through it. Some cultures, when you were menstruating, they like exiled you from the camp. They put you in like isolation because they didn't understand what was going on. Now we understand what is going on. We just have to get it out there. So anyway, the question I asked was, okay, I see how you got to me, the TikTok. And then if you want to, it's up to you. If you want to talk about where you were at and where you feel like you are now, and then we'll go from there. Because, like I said, you spent a lot of money because of hormone confusion, and I want you to see what's the cost of hormone clarity. Hormone clarity does not cost half as much as what you just paid, not even a fraction of what you
I
just
know.
paid.
I know.
Okay, so you can talk about how you ended your hormone confusion and how you plan on ending it for your clients that you have, that you're so concerned about.
I want to go back real quick, Dr.
Okay.
Taylor. When
Mm-hmm.
I was talking about the dry eyes, it's deeper than that. I even had a hysterectomy due to fibroids. I had 2 fibroid surgeries.
That's the
2
cause of hormone
fibroid
confusion.
surgeries.
I talk about it in my TikToks. How many surgeries have you had that could have been avoided? If you had known what your hormones were when you were 20, you could have corrected them and you wouldn't have had a hysterectomy at 40. Okay. How many office visits? How many medications? How many supplements? It's thousands and thousands of doctors. And what has it cost you? 2 myomectomies? And when you had the first myomectomy, somebody should have said the reason why this grew is because you had too much of the growth hormone estrogen and not enough of the stop growth hormone progesterone. So you don't have your second myomectomy, let's fix your hormones. And when you talk about insurance and doctors, as an OBGYN, this is what I was taught to do, is you keep bringing the patient in, measuring her uterus year after year after year. Then when it gets big enough, you say, now it's time for surgery. Well, you could have been doing something those years that you were just coming in and checking. And I think of myself, I used to say, I need to confess and repent for all of the things that I did to patients before I understood that what I was doing wasn't helping them. So I feel like I have to confess. I used to do whatever's happening to you right now. I used to do it. And my mother always told me, when you know better, you have to do better.
Absolutely.
So I knew better and I have to do better. And I have to do better. I know you came as a patient, but I really didn't remember your whole story. You've had all kinds of things that have happened to you because of hormone confusion. Okay, so go ahead. All right, so you can go back and you tell the whole story. I'm learning something. I get to write this in your notes in your chart.
Yes, and the horrible thing about the hysterectomy is right before, like 2 months before the hysterectomy, my spirit told me, heal thyself.
Before you can heal anybody else. Exactly.
And I knew then that I wasn't supposed to have the surgery. However, because the only thing I knew to do was to have the surgery, I just went ahead with the surgery. And what did that cost me by going against what my spirit wanted me to do? I almost lost my life after surgery. I ended up in the hospital for 15 days because I caught a staph infection during surgery. And
that's why I say there's no such thing as a minor surgery. Okay. So go ahead. I'm sorry. So
no,
I didn't know this either. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And so I spent 15 days and I literally was fighting for my life in the hospital afterwards. Now, here's the thing. After surgery, I was good. Day before they sent me home, I had a low-grade fever. Doctor came in. She says, you have a low-grade fever. We're just going to give you something to treat the fever. They didn't run any tests to see if my white blood cells were elevated at all. They sent me home. 24 hours after they sent me home, I literally could not walk. Wow. So the cost of
hormone confusion
is a real thing. Yeah. And the discomfort after the surgery in my pelvic area, having intercourse with my husband was null and void. It just reshaped my vaginal section all in all, like the dryness, the discomfort. I'm really surprised I'm still married because it took a toll on my marriage. It took a toll on me as a woman. It took a toll on him. However, we worked through that. But that surgery was 2016. And I did not meet Dr. Taylor to the end of 2025.
Man, you are the embodiment of everything that I talk about. Now, yesterday we had a meeting and I said, we talked and I was like, you need to be my podcast guest tomorrow. And I really didn't know you are the perfect podcast person because I wanted to talk about how hormone confusion can be deadly. And I didn't know you almost died after the surgery. And that's what I'm talking about. Why did you have the surgery? Because your hormones were out of balance. And they've been out of balance for 20 years. And nobody said that to you. Okay. And sometimes it makes me want to pull my hair out, but I'm already losing my hair, so I don't want to. So, but anyway, so we got about 5 minutes before we're going to go to a break, and then so let's finish your story, and then we can just kind of try and help people understand how you plan on helping people in the future, and how we want to have more hormone coaches like you, and because I can't do this just by myself. Because we have a lot of people on internet that's talking, that's just exacerbating the hormone confusion because they're not focused on the right things. So I need more people out there doing TikToks and Facebook and whatever and understanding this. So anyway, all right, so let's finish your story. We got about 5 minutes and then we'll go to a quick break.
So when I found Dr. Taylor, I went to his office, and Dr. Taylor started treating me for my energy level because I was just what I call flatline. I was 1 foot in the grave and 1 foot on the planet. I had no energy to get up. I had no energy, all the things that I needed to do. I had no energy to do anything. I didn't want to bathe. I didn't want to comb my hair. I didn't want to go to the grocery store, pay expenses, run my business. You can ask my team. I think I went MIA for like 45 days. Wow. And I told them, I was just like, I have got to take care of me. And in the process of that, I bought a property that needed to kind of have some things done to it so that I could renovate it to rent it out. And I literally would stay in bed till like 11, 12 o'clock. And then I'm like, I have got to push myself to go paint. And I would paint till like 7, 8 o'clock at night. And finally, I just reached out to Dr. Taylor and I was like, he got me, I did my saliva test. The results came back. And then he put me on progesterone. And then he put me on estradiol, which I hope this is not too much for the audience. The best intercourse, my husband
Let me tell you what I gave you. It's estriol. So there's three types of estrogen. There's estradiol, which we test in the saliva test. That's your main estrogen. But estriol is, and I think we're okay on it. Estriol is what is around the bag of water when the baby is born. And so it floods the birth canal with estrogen and it makes it moist and flexible. So it does that in order for a baby to be born, but it also can do that so intercourse can be more comfortable. So we did that. And how long did it take? How long did it take for that to work?
I think I gave it 3 weeks only because
it's a 4-week process. So yeah.
Yes. Only because I felt like I was more nervous about it because of the discomfort I've had in the past.
Exactly. PTSD kind of thing. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. And however, I was so grateful. I'm like, we're back
and he
in
was
the game.
too. I'm sure he was too. And that's what, see, she is the embodiment of everything. I talk about how it's costing you relationships.
Yes.
It's costing you career. It can cost you your life. That's how important this is. Okay, so I promise you, I did not realize all of this. I know we had an office visit, and this is the importance of spending time with the patient. You can't find this out in a 10 to 15 minute conversation with the patient. You have to actually get to know the patient, and the patient needs to get to know you and trust you to take your advice. And that's why you have to spend more than 10 minutes with the patient. So anyway, look, it's time for a break because I want you to really be able, I really want you to say how your experience is going to enhance your practice, because I want these high performing women, okay, to be able to understand themselves, heal thyself, and then go out and enhance your practice. Because that's what happened to me. I was doing one thing. I learned something else. I started implementing it to enhance my practice. And so that's what I want for her. And that's what I want for you if you guys are listening. So we're at a time for a break, and then we'll have another 20 minutes to really understand how you can move from where she was to where she is now. And this can happen for anyone, and it's not nearly as complicated as you think it is. All right, so let's go to break.
We are going to a quick break, so stay with us as we explore the ageless blueprint right here on W4HC Radio and Talk 4 TV. An ancient secret with a modern twist for better health and vitality. Dr. Taylor will be right back. Taking care of your health shouldn't mean taking a handful of pills every day. At Taylor MD Formulations, they create doctor-developed supplements that combine the best natural ingredients so you get the results you need with fewer pills. Taylor MD Formulations is backed by science, designed for real life with real results. Less pills, better health, doctor approved. Shop now at TaylorMDFormulations.com and discover smarter supplements for smarter health. That's TaylorMDFormulations.com. We are back for more of Ageless Blueprint. Once again, let's join Dr. Taylor for more insights and research on the ancient secret to better health and a better life in modern times. Here's your host, Dr. Eldred Taylor.
Hello. We are back, and this episode is better than I thought it was going to be. I was trying to give some social proof to say, hey, look, this is a real thing, and to give you some social proof that, hey, look, you might have 10 different problems, but they all boil down to one or two. It's the wrong test and the wrong hormones, and you did the wrong test, so it told you to use the wrong hormones. It is as simple as that. And she's the embodiment. You must have said that you had like about 15 symptoms, and they all back up to progesterone and cortisol. That was her two major things. And what we had to work on is getting her cortisol or her stress system back online so that she could handle the routine. See, here's what happens with high performing women. They push, and men too, because I did the same thing. 20s, 30s, and 40s, you're pushing, and you can only do that for so long. Just like these athletes, when they get past 40, it's hard for them to keep it up. It's the same way with you guys. It was the same way with me. But now, even the things that used to be so easy for you are become difficult, and that just adds to the stress. So that's what she's talking about. She was doing all this stuff. Now she couldn't even, clean her kitchen, okay, or whatever, put her makeup on or whatever. So anyway, all right. So let's talk about it. I came to you. We did the progesterone, but it didn't work like I thought, and that's why we wrote the second book, The Stress Connection, because sometimes just progesterone is not the issue. You have got to fix the stress first, and so that's what we started focusing on. So let's go. You can continue your story. We started out when you did the progesterone, and then what happened?
Then I came in for IV therapy, and you can explain to the audience what all I received there. And I had 3 treatments, and then methadone blue. I'll let Dr. Taylor explain what all he gave to me in those IV treatments. But that was because what I call flatline. I had flatline from pushing, doing, and just not having the correct hormones, the progesterone level, to balance out what was happening inside my body. And then with the stress level, I run a business, I have a family, I'm a real estate investor, all the things. I teach, I coach, all the things that I do. And inside of that, I am also a neurosomatic intelligent practitioner, where I teach individuals how to regulate their nervous system. And it wasn't till I balanced my hormones that I said, this is the missing piece. You cannot re-regulate your nervous system until your hormones are balanced.
Yeah. And that's the key, and I tell you can't diet and exercise your way past the hormone problem. You can't fix your nervous system past the hormone problem. You can't fix your weight. You can't fix anything. And so that's why I said I had to back up. I wanted to do this body, mind, and spirit. That's why I was like, spiritual MD. But it's impossible. I won't say it's impossible. It's very, very hard for you to get to the mind and the spirit part when the body is totally dysregulated. Okay. So it's hard to connect to your spiritual self when your hormones are going crazy and your moods are going up and down. You don't know what's going on, and you're stressed out because no one really seems to have an answer for you. So here's what I'll tell you. Here's what we do when we see the cortisol is down. That means you have no energy. So we have to give you your energy system back. And that's vitamin C, all the B vitamins, and then NAD. NAD is what you need to make energy, and you use that up as you age, and stress uses it up. And so you have to give that back in order to get your levels back. And then what you have to do, you have to repair all the damage from the stress. Then you have to prepare yourself for future stress. And I think that's what you're in the mode for now. You're doing the amino restore, you're doing the adrenaline. She's preparing for going back into her professional career, but now she knows how to regulate her hormones. So now she can regulate her nervous system, and now she can teach other people, because you're dealing with women who are just like you. And that's why I say you have to experience this, and you have to have your own story, and then you tell it to somebody else. So why don't you talk about how you see this impacting your business, how you understanding this is going to help your business and help a lot of your clients?
Well, as an individual who has had a high stress life her entire life, very high ACE scores, that has been my story. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, it is the story of almost every melanin woman walking.
Yeah.
We are carrying the weight of every culture, and I stand by that. It's just who we are, right?
Mm-hmm.
Us not knowing that we're carrying things of our own, epigenetically, socially,
Yeah.
systematically, there's a lot that we are carrying. And like I said, that was my story. So to have that as my story and just not know that that was my story, and then there's this whole stigma around being a strong Black woman,
Yeah.
cancel, delete.
Yeah.
We don't need to be that, right?
Yeah.
Because that will put us in our grave.
Yeah.
But inside of carrying all this stress, doing all these things, what came present for me is I need to help myself come back into balance. I was doing all the things from diet and exercise to doing all the teas to doing all the smoothies, fasting,
Yeah.
any and everything I could do to help myself. Then I
Mhm.
went into studying the applied neural, and I'm like, okay, if I can balance my nervous system, I'll be good. Right. And then I'm like, oh, this
Mhm.
is good. I can help other people because that's my spirit. I'm here
Right.
to be a teacher, right? I can help other people balance their nervous system. And it's in my
Mhm.
human design. Like that's
Right.
for
That's
me to
what we
show
do.
up. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's for me to show up to help
Mhm.
people manage their stress in a way that it's not overbearing or flatlining them.
Yeah.
However, inside of being a neurosomatic intelligent practitioner, it would work for me for the time being. I do the tool, I'll feel okay for a moment, but it was back to I'm extremely exhausted, right?
Yeah.
Adding this to my practice, hormone clarity, allows for me to help women truly get their bodies back into alignment and balance so that they can feel in their bodies. Because when you are stressed and you can't feel, you think that this is the normal, or I thought that this
Yeah.
was the normal, and I know a lot of women think that this is the normal. However, when
Right.
your body starts coming back into alignment and it can feel like it's at ease,
Yeah.
then you're tuned into your body. You have a total different awareness around your
Mhm.
body. So when something is out of alignment, we'll know it.
Yeah. Women especially, they know it.
We'll know it.
Yeah.
However, when we're constantly on the go and we're moving and we don't have time to tune in, tap in, and turn ourselves on, we don't know what's going on with our bodies until a symptom shows up
Yeah.
or a
Yeah.
dis-ease shows up. And at that
Yeah.
point, a lot of people think it's too late and they accept what is. But that doesn't have to be our story.
Yeah. Yeah.
No one is going to save us. It is up to us to find what is necessary for us to
Yeah.
heal ourselves so that we can prosper and thrive.
Yeah. And this is what I want to tell you. This is a cross-cultural, international problem. When I go on TikTok, it's people from all over the place. The Czech Republic, Australia, Jamaica, all these places, some places I
Indeed.
haven't even heard of. It is an epidemic of vast proportions that's not getting the recognition or the attention that it needs. And it's a real problem. And I talked to a marriage counselor, and she was like, this is the missing piece. It's like I know these relationships, just like your relationship was almost destroyed because of hormone confusion. And a simple 3 or 4 week course of vaginal estriol revived your sex life. You can you wear your contacts now?
Yes, I have them on.
See, and that's the thing. That's what I tell women. I don't know what getting your hormones in balance will help you with, but if it got better, I tell her, any problem that you have, if your hormones are out of balance, it's going to make it worse. So if your eyes were a little bit dry and now you have a hormone problem, they're going to be a lot dry. Mm-hmm. I just talked to someone this morning, and she was telling me how she has these migraines every 2 weeks, and that she goes to the chiropractor every 2 weeks to get her neck aligned. I said, do you really think that your neck gets out of line every 2 weeks, or is it that your hormones get out of line every 2 weeks? And so she was like, oh, I never thought of that. So I'm telling you, if you have any underlying condition and it gets worse 2 weeks before your cycle, you have a hormone problem. Okay. Now, I tell people all the time, you got 2 problems. You're being tested wrong, and you're getting the wrong hormones because the test is not telling you anything. So, Rebel, do we have any questions? We have about 8 more minutes. I want to see if we have any questions. If not, we'll just keep going. So, Rebel, does this make sense to you? Rebel is she's my usual like co-host or whatever, but she listens to this. She's going to be my next coach because she's heard all of my podcasts. Rebel. So do we have any questions?
Well, yes, let's start with
okay.
Dr. Lovely, Dr. B, you said you were over 40. No one is believing this. Everybody thought you were 27, and they didn't understand. So if you could reiterate that.
That's what Ageless Blueprint does for you.
Well, they're thrown off because you're talking about stuff that older people, older people,
yes,
but they're thinking you're 27, and they're like, "How could she be going through all this?"
I will say,
she's having a hissy fit because no way, that poor 27-year-old, she couldn't have had a hysterectomy. Could you clear this up a little bit for people?
Let me say, Rebel, I had my hysterectomy in 2016, so I was late 30s. I will be 50 next month on the 23rd, and I'm so grateful. I will be half of 100. I made it.
Yeah. And you're going to be able to live the rest of your life in balance.
Yes.
You live 49 years out of balance. And now you're finally in balance. Yeah. So, and that's what I tell people. People think, I've just got to live like this. It's too late. No, I don't care. Let me tell you, I don't care if you're 75. If your hormones are out of balance, if we get them back in balance, you're going to be better at 75. Mm-hmm. Okay. So I'm just telling you, say, oh, I'm already in menopause, I can't do this now. No, you still can have a problem then. So any other questions, Rebel?
Yes.
Okay.
For Dr. B,
mm-hmm.
They want to know, how long did it take you going to out of state to realize that you needed Dr. Taylor?
I started seeing my naturopathic chemist last February, so 2025 February, and I met Dr. Taylor November 2025. Yeah.
It has been 6 months, hasn't it? Yeah.
Yes, okay. I met him November. So I saw my naturopathic chemist twice. I saw him in February, and then I saw him again in June of 2025, just for like a retest to see where I was and if his protocol was working for me.
Yeah. So, So, I mean, like I said, she was doing the best she can. These women are searching out here. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Rebel.
The second part of that question was, what was the difference between the 2 doctors?
Oh, okay, good.
Yes, the first doctor, what he gave me was very nice. It was more on a diet regimen and how to eat properly, which is important, right? I learned that I needed to eat with the sun. So I need to eat by 7 a.m. to start. I need to have my lunch no later than 11 or 12 based on my body. And I need to have my dinner by 4 p.m. and nothing after 4 p.m. That balances my insulin in my body. However, there was still the cortisol that was playing a huge role. So when I met Dr. Taylor, getting my cortisol in a balance, that individual that helped me previously, that helped, and it's still helping. I'm still incorporating that. But when I met Dr. Taylor, that was the missing piece to put it all together and to have me not feeling flatline. Like, I'm here on this call and not feeling like, oh my goodness, I got to get up. I got to get up. I actually got out of bed before time and had the energy to actually get ready. I didn't have that previously. That's the difference for me. I actually have energy to do the things that I need to do. And I have 3 grandsouls under 3. So I have to have energy to play with them as well. And I had the energy to do that. That was most important. I could do the regimen. And that doctor, let me add, said that it would take me 18 months for my cells to rejuvenate. 18 months of feeling like I was feeling with no energy, unable to get out of bed before sometime 12 o'clock.
See, that's what happened to my wife. That's why we wrote The Stress Connection. It was the same issue with my wife. Like I said, we lived through all this. Now, I will tell you what that doctor did is good after you get your hormones straight. But let me tell you, if you stop eating at 4 and you have no cortisol to provide energy, I don't know how you survive stopped eating at 4, because you would, to be able to do that, you need cortisol to provide that energy for the rest of that time. So actually, I'm glad, because I showed it to you yesterday. That's why I had this Ageless Blueprint app. That is to give you, after you've gotten your hormones straight, to tell you about those behavior changes, like eating with the sun and seeing sunlight, being woken up with the bird. So I have an app to say, okay, look, this is how you don't let yourself get back in that hole that you just climbed out of. These are the behavior changes that you can do to keep your hormones balanced. And so what that guy is talking about, that is what I've developed for people after they've gotten their hormones straight. And that's what I want to send to you, is that has all of that stuff in there, and how simple things that we do or don't do actually are stressing us out. And that's what I talked about last week about this evolutionary stress, how our world is a mismatch for what our body is actually designed to do. So anyway, let's do some more questions. I know this was very thought-provoking to the audience and to whoever is going to see this after this, because I really want to push this video. So any other, let's go with some more questions. Do we have any on Rebel?
Yes, we have another question. They're new to listening to the show, and they wanted to know, what exactly does a saliva test tell you?
Okay, so here's what we're looking at. We're looking at the balance, and please go back and look at some of my other podcasts. We're looking at the balance between estrogen and progesterone. Estrogen makes things grow, like her fibroids and all the stuff that she was having. Progesterone slows that down. So the saliva test shows me that balance that blood test won't tell me. And you have to look at some, just subscribe to my channel on YouTube, and there's videos that explain all of this. But it also look at cortisol. Cortisol is a daily rhythm that should be high in the morning and low at night. Think of it as your natural energy flow. You wake up, I'm full of energy. I go through what I go through during the day, and I go to sleep at night. I have a nice rest, and I do it all over in the morning. The problem is when you stress yourself out like that, your cortisol doesn't change. It stays the same all day. So at night and in the morning, when you should have a certain amount of energy, you only have this much. And in the night, when you should have a low amount of energy, it's too high. So you're tired all day, and then you can't go to sleep at night. And it's the most aggravating thing that can ever happen. And it's all a cortisol issue. And you have to do it. You have to take the saliva, collect the saliva 4 times during the day, so you can map that curve. Rebel, you just did the test, right?
I've received the test. I have not done the test because I want to make sure, and this is a good question that other people have asked. What are the best times to do? Like, do you have to do certain things? I know we talked about in the last show, don't drink coffee, don't drink caffeine, stuff like that. What is there a best time? Like, you're not going to take this at night, you're going to take it during the day, correct?
Yeah. So it's a whole day thing. So here's, if you order it, then, and I sent it to you, you didn't see it. I have a video, it's a 7-minute video that explains all of that. And so when you purchase it in the Stand store, there's a video that explains it. When you purchase the test, the instructions are very are very self-explanatory. So I know we're almost out of time. Hey, Lovey, we got to do this again. We need to do this once a month because so you are the embodiment of what I'm trying to do. You had all of the symptoms, and it boiled down to 2 problems, exactly what we've been talking about. So anyway, thank you. This has been great.
Thank
and
you.
We'll talk some more. I want to get this app to you because this app is, and this is what I'm developing, you guys. I'm developing a system. We're going to do this. I read a book called The Art of the Impossible. And I think that it is possible for me and people like you who are listening to this. We can end this hormone confusion. And that is the movement that we're starting. And we need you to join it. And please contact us. Hey, join us. I'll have information of how you can contact Dr. B. Whatever we need to do to end hormone confusion, that's what we're going to do. So we'll see you next Wednesday. And thanks again for your attention and for your support. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining Dr. Taylor today. If you missed any part of this show, just check out the podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. Ageless Blueprint is every Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time on W4HC Radio at W4HC.com. Together, we discovered ancient secrets to better health through science and spirituality made for modern times. Until then, feel free to check out agelessblueprintpodcast.com and TaylorMDFormulations.com for more information.